Trust me, they will miss you. Hi, I'm Amy and welcome to my channel. Here we discuss spirituality and psychology around relationships. I'm a certified relationship mentor and coach. In today's video, I'm going to discuss whether dismissive avoidant attachment styles actually miss their ex-partner. And if you follow me for a while, you will know that I have had quite a long-term relationship that was on and off with a dismissive avoidant individual. So a lot of this video is on my own experience, having spoken to this person when he was coming in and out of my life. And just so you're aware, I'm no longer with this person. And a lot of it is also from the training and research that I've done. So the point really of this video is so that you are not personalizing their behavior, because their behavior is not your fault. But I know when I was in periods of being broken up with this person, I always used to wonder, do they miss me? You know, what is it that they're thinking? What is it that they're doing? And partially this was because of my own fearful avoidant attachment style. And when we were apart, that anxious part of the fearful avoidant was triggered. And I would look to this person for reassurance, for love, for worthiness. Everything was tied up in this person until I went on my own healing journey and healed that attachment style. So back to the $1 million question, do DAs miss you when you're not there? So if you've broken up or they've broken up with you or vice versa, do they miss you? The answer to that is yes, they do. But it isn't straight away. And here's why. When a DA is in a relationship and they've come through this honeymoon period and they're getting a bit more serious, all of a sudden there are expectations on this relationship. And what that does is that triggers their own fears of engulfment in the relationship, of loss of something, i.e. their autonomy, their freedom, their space. It really activates their own dismissive avoidant attachment style. So instead of talking things through or asking for their needs to be met, they will just break away from the relationship. And what you've got to consider, not that this is excusing them, because it is really painful being on the other side of it, but what you've got to consider is that DAs are not typically in tune with their own feelings. And when somebody isn't in tune with their own feelings, they're not going to be able to attune to yours either, which makes you feel quite alone and lost in the relationship to begin with. Yes, it is really important for you to work on your own attachment style. That has to be the priority. But if it is that you're ruminating on this person and want to know if you meant anything to this person, did they even care? Did they even love you? The answers to this are yes. And when a DA is away from the relationship, what they will initially feel is relief. They'll feel a sense of freedom. They've got their autonomy back. They can do whatever they want. And what you'll tend to find is that they will go into their creature comforts, whether that is over drinking, gaming, overeating, binge watching. They will go into their creature comforts because they don't want to feel the loss of the relationship. Because although they have these really high needs for autonomy and freedom, they also have conflicting needs, which are connection and love, because everybody has those. So once it is that they're out of the relationship and they've dove into their own creature comforts, they've numbed as much as they can only do this for a certain amount of time before the feelings of loss start to creep up to the surface. And this is when they are going to start missing you. So if it is that you're in an on-off relationship or a hot and cold relationship with a DA, this is what the cycle is. And particularly if they've been in a relationship for a long time, DAs have the hardest time in breakups. And I know that that might sound hard to believe, but because the other attachment styles can deal with their feelings and do process their emotions, DAs typically don't. They will numb their emotions. They don't want to feel them. So when it is that this initial sense of freedom and sense of relief has worn off, then yes, they are going to start missing you. What happens after that depends on the individual. But in my experience, that when my ex-partner began to miss me, he would reach out, and it would never be a big, oh my God, please gonna come back sort of thing. It would have been testing the water. It would have been dipping his toe in to see where I was. And because I hadn't focused on my own growth, I would allow this person back in. There was never any accountability for the behavior. And I would just be that glad that this person had come back, because then I will feel loved again. Then I will feel worthy. Then I will feel accepted. So these are things that on your side of the street need to be addressed. But in terms of the DA, this is what the typical pattern is, that they will go through this cycle, initially having a desire for connection and love and intimacy. They will find somebody and date them. They will go through the honeymoon phase. And then once there is expectations on the relationship, once that person expresses what their needs are, this is where the problem lies. Because in a DA's mind, you're responsible for your needs and I'm responsible for mine. And there is no overlap. There is no interdependency in the relationship. So when it is that discussions like that arise, maybe you have a conversation about, where are we going? This is when their attachment style is going to get triggered and they're going to want to pull away. And in their mind, internally, what they are doing once they get to this stage is nitpicking their partner, for example, telling themselves, if this person was the right one for me, then we wouldn't argue. The perfect person is out there for me somewhere. And they end the relationship. They go into their creature comforts, and then the need for love and connection is still there. In some cases, they might just leave you alone and go and find somebody else. But in a lot of cases, like I say, particularly if it's a long-term relationship, you are likely to hear from this person again. When that is, will be a lot longer than it is with other attachment styles. It will be a lot longer time period than other attachment styles, typically past the 3-month mark. So if you're sitting there thinking, I'm just going to white knuckle it with the 30 days no contact, the chances are it's not going to be long enough. And also it's not going to be long enough for you to do your own work on yourself either. So the answers to your questions are, do they miss you? Yes. Do they come back? Yes, frequently. But in order for them to miss you, you do need to go no contact. And I know, as a former fearful avoidant leaning towards anxious, if you are anxiously attached, the idea of no contact is terrifying. The silence is horrible, and I get this, but you need your time. You need to be able to look at what your attachment style is, what your core wounds are, so you can start healing that and becoming more secure yourself. And it is a possibility that if this person comes back in your life, you may not want them, and be prepared for that. A lot of my clients have had that happen, where they've moved towards more secure and they don't want their person anymore. And if it is that you reach that point and you still want this person back, do your vetting. Have they done any work on themselves? Are they taking accountability for how the relationship ended? Are they taking accountability of their own actions? I hope you found that video helpful. If you did, drop a comment below and I will see you next time.